welcome to Fighting Loneliness, Leaning on Our Community. My name is Mishaina Joseph, and I'm hella Haitian. So I always start with that because if you know any Haitians, we try to sneak it in as quickly as possible. We're incredibly proud of our culture. And for me, being Haitian means resistance, it means community, it means joy, and really it means family. So raise your hand if you have a big family in here. Okay, I see a lot of hands. Great, thank you. I have a really big family. And the thing that I love the most about having a big family is that when I say family, I mean more than just my parents and my siblings. I mean my aunts, I mean my uncles, my play cousins, my parents' best friends that I grew up with. All of these people mean family to me. And most importantly, when I say family, I mean my grandma. So I lost my grandma this past September, and it was, and still is, a really big shock to my family. She was a powerhouse. She was the funniest, rudest person you've ever met. She was a hustler, knew how to make $1 out of 15 cents, raised 5 kids, was the first person in her family to move to a large city. And when I grew up in Port-au-Prince, I was always at her house. She taught me how to cook, how to make tea, how to take a bucket shower, so many of the things that we take for granted now. And the thing that I love the most about my grandma is that she had community. People in the neighborhood knew her name. She had church, she traveled, she has friends from all over. And during her funeral, her community really showed up for her. People traveled from all around, from Haiti, from Miami, from New York, from New Jersey, all the way to Montreal to celebrate her life. And they celebrated exactly the way that she would have wanted, with a giant party. So after the funeral, I've been thinking a lot about community and what it means to be in community. And I've been really thinking about holding my friends and family close, holding my community close. Because I'm realizing that it's in community that I thrive. And I think it's in community that we all thrive. But yet, when I look around my neighborhood, when I look around my work, I see a lot of loneliness. And I'm not the only one. Recent surveys found that approximately half of US adults report experiencing loneliness. And that's even higher amongst young adults. But only about 20% feel that this is actually a problem. It is a problem. People feel more lonely now than they've ever felt before. Even though we have access to social media, we have phones, we're able to connect with people from all around the world, we still feel lonely. And even though we're surrounded by community and schools and neighborhoods and our work, we're still feeling lonely. And I think that's because a lot of times we think of our forced communities, or communities at work, at school, in our neighborhoods, as not that at all, as not communities, as forced places that we have to be. And we often throw them away. We don't think deeply about the impact that we have in those spaces. But we're stuck with them. And too often, like I said, we're quick to throw them away. And to be honest, lacking social connection can increase the risk of premature death as much as smoking up to 15 cigarettes a day. Our loneliness is killing us, but we're still not seeing it as a problem. We can fix that. We have to be intentional. Creating community is intentional. And I know that being in forced communities, it's hard because we don't trust one another, we don't know each other, we don't know who to lean on and to look after because we don't know these people. But we have to learn to get to know each other. And I learned that the best during my first year teaching. And any teachers in here can tell you that creating intentional community is the hardest part of our job. But it's also the thing that gets us the furthest. My first year teaching, I learned very quickly that the kids who get the most on your nerves, they're the ones who are never absent. They're the ones who always show up. And they force you, I know that's true, and they force you to have them be part of your community. They force you to get curious, to learn, to question. They force you to find out what makes them tick. And because of that, you see so much more of that person, right? You see past their mistakes, you see past their worst failures, and you really get to know them. And that's what I want for all of us. We have to force ourselves to learn about who's around us and turn our forced community into an intentional one. But it's gonna require some work out of us. It's gonna require us to step out of our comfort zone. It's gonna require us to introduce ourselves to the neighbors that we're seeing around our neighborhoods and our buildings. It's gonna require us to compliment the people that we see in our class that we never talk to. It's gonna require us to share food with that one coworker who didn't have time to run down to the deli. It's gonna require us to step out of our comfort zone. But as all of you know, the small things can have the biggest impacts. So I'm an introvert myself. I don't like going up to people and introducing myself, but I know that that one step can lead into learning more about somebody, building that community together. And it's not always gonna work. Don't get me wrong, it's gonna be trial and error. Sometimes you'll find people that you don't like, people who don't like you. It happens. Being in community does not mean always agreeing with one another, always forgiving and forgetting. There's a lot of things happening in our world, right? There's still colonialism, racism, homophobia, bullying. I'm not saying let's forgive these things, and a lot of times the people in our community perpetuate these problems. But what I'm saying is, let's take our time to learn each other. Let's take our time to find out what makes each other tick. Let's take our time to really get to know each other and be in that community, because that's the only way that we'll be able to move forward. And those people who still hold on to that hate, let's leave them behind. Let them be the lonely ones. We can imagine a better future together, and it can be better. We just have to take a step to imagine it and take a step to really get to know those around us. It can start today. Get to know people in your community. Get to know people in your forced community. Find common interests. Find places to share resources. Complement one another. And I'm talking specifically to the Black and brown faces that I see in this room. We can't afford to not be in community. It's not coincidence that we live in a culture that forces us to be individualistic, right? Being in community is a threat to the powers that be. So it's important for us to step up against white supremacy, who tries to steal our cultures, our joy, and forces us to work for a seat at the table. Let's just create our own. Thank you.